Prices for everything from gas to groceries have skyrocketed, causing financial strain for millions of Canadians. Joining me now with her insights and advice on how to make your dollar stretch and outsmart inflation is Stacey Yanchuk-Oleksy, CEO of Credit Counseling Canada. Stacey, it's great to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Good morning.
Now, Credit Counseling Canada, they commissioned a survey very recently, and they were asking Canadians about their financial health and the impact of inflation. What did you find?
Yeah, it was really interesting. So what we found is that the two leading factors for consumers measuring their financial health are stability as well as living within my means. So we can see that the cost of living actually impacts people and their finances.
So where are they finding the issue when it comes to inflation? Is it housing? Is it gas? Is it something else?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we can all think about how we've spent our money over the last 18 months, like the grocery store. We're definitely noticing, prices are more expensive. I mean, even a head of cauliflower, it's not covered in chocolate, but it's expensive, and we're noticing it at the gas pumps as well. Gas is not cheap. Housing costs have certainly gone up. And even, because people are spending more time at home, they're having to spend more money. They're doing more home improvements or solo activities. So we're seeing the cost of those go up as well.
When it comes to housing, are you finding that people are concerned about paying their mortgages, for example, or is it rent or is it something else?
It depends on the consumer, but yes, I would say that some are definitely concerned about how to afford, be it rent or the mortgage. And, even if you get into the mortgage and you can afford the payment, let's not forget that sometimes things break down, right? Or you have to pay for your insurance or your taxes. So those added costs start to put that pressure on consumers, who are living in costly homes.
Yeah. Stacey, what's changed from what you can see when it comes to savings habits and debt habits pre-COVID and then I guess you can call it post-COVID?
Right. I would say with before COVID, I mean, we had different levels of savings, of course. What we've noticed with COVID is that some Canadians, like some folks in Canada, have done really well. They've been able to work from home, save some money, and actually pay down some debt. But that's some Canadians, that's not all. And some Canadians have actually really struggled with it. Their employment has been impacted, so their income, household income has been impacted, their stress has been impacted, and of course their finances have been impacted considerably. And so it's creating a lot of stress for some people.
Who is typically coming to seek your help when it comes to, credit and debt management? And has that changed because of COVID?
Right. Honestly, Saijal, it's everyone. People
Wow.
think that that income is associated with debt stress or whatnot. It has nothing to do with it. In fact, we see people, with low incomes. We see people with, average middle class incomes, and we see folks with high incomes as well, because income does not dictate how you handle your money. It just dictates your income. So it's quite fascinating to see how many people we see and different walks of life coming in. And I don't think that's shifted so much with COVID.
Yeah. So when someone comes to you and your team and says, you know what, I'm really struggling. I don't know how to pay my debt. I don't know how to manage expenses. What do you advise them? Walk us through that process.
Absolutely. So what our members do, so our credit counselors, who are member associate or member agencies, what they do is they first meet that client with a deep amount of compassion and empathy. And I think that's really important to emphasize that, first of all, that consumer gets reminded that they're not alone. We've associated net worth with self-worth and we've enmeshed them together, and they're actually completely separate. You can be broke and be a great person. You can be rich and be a great person as well. Money's not relevant to your worthiness, but we've associated that. And so people feel shame. And when they feel shame, they don't reach out for help. So our credit counselors, what they do is they first show up and they say, you know what, you're not alone. We got you. We can help you. And then we get into the practical aspects of it. When I had the privilege of meeting with clients as a credit counselor, I would look at their whole financial situation, like really all the numbers, the income, the assets, the liabilities, all the monthly expenses, not just the 4 or 5 that we keep in our head, but the 2 pages worth of monthly expenses. And then I look at the debts. And with all that information, what we can do is actually just lay out some options. So what that consumer does is they walk away with a plan of action. So they come in really, really stressed. They walk away calmer, feeling like they're not alone, and they come away with a plan. That's what our members can do for them.